أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة المتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أما بعد. My beloved brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And to all our viewers and all our brothers and sisters of other faith, may I say good evening and may God's guidance be with you and all of us. Yahdikumullah. It gives me great pleasure again to welcome you to our third episode of Masjid Al-Wali Chai Chat. And as we have discussed before, we are discussing issues that are relevant to the next generation, to help them, to bring them to the speed of changes in the society and how they can able to grapple with changes, especially with their academics and their Islamic learning. Alhamdulillah, this program has taken on a very good dimension of helping families, helping youngsters, identifying with themselves and then identifying with Islam. And so therefore, it is a great barakah working for the cause of Allah, fi sabilillah. There is nothing much can be greater than to work for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in our previous two episodes, we had two brothers at a different situation who one was second year medical student. Last week we had someone who is seeking college law school. And so with their ideas and their being active volunteerism, I had really thought that it is very prudent for us to give this opportunity to some of our young sisters in our community who are junior and sophomore in high school. And inshallah, today we have with us our sister Yasin Zahir and Rizwana Sardar. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome both of you to Masjid Al-Wali Chai Chat.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having us here today. My name is Rizwana and I'm currently a junior in J.P. Stevens High School. I used to attend the private school An-Nur Academy for 3 years. And in those 3 years, I participated in Science Olympiad, debate, and Model United Nations. And after I went to private school, I went to Woodrow Wilson Middle School and I volunteered in the school library. After that, I started volunteering at the Masjid and I have been for a couple of years now. I also began to participate in the Muslim Student Association at J.P. Stevens in high school, and I am currently the secretary of the club. I also worked with Congressman Pallone Jr. on his Youth Advisory Council in my freshman year of high school, and I'm doing it again this year. I'm really excited to be here today.
Alhamdulillah. Yasin?
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I'm a sophomore at North Edison's J.P. Stevens High School. I also transferred from An-Nur Academy in Piscataway at the end of 8th grade. So I participate in international model UN and regional debate, both at An-Nur and my public school. And so when I was at the opportunity and privilege to participate in the National Students in Action Initiative, which is one of the chapters is at An-Nur. So I worked with them on daily food drives, gift drives, hygiene supplies, drives, and so much more that I even do at Masjid Al-Wali. So in 2019, the SIA team got the New Jersey Governor's Award for Public Service, and this led us to attend the National Jefferson's Award ceremony at DC, where we received the bronze medal and were recognized by Senior Senator Bob Menendez. I've been also going to Al-Wali from like the very beginning, and I volunteered, and I make dua that I am connected to the Masjid even in the future and able to do many different things.
Alhamdulillah, I'm very, very impressed with you guys' background, and especially with the model UN stuff, and you guys being participating in the debate club and stuff like that. MashaAllah, we have lots of talent, and I'm so happy to have both of you guys here tonight on my program, Masjid Al-Wali Chai Chat. I know a lot of the young kids are looking at this program, so I want you guys to tell our young folks who are listening, and also I'm sure parents are listening along with their kids. Rizwana, I mean, how were you able to get involved in the community?
So I started coming to Masjid Al-Wali since we were in Nine Olson, and I was involved from the very beginning. I think it was 2017 or 2016. I started working at the babysitter upstairs in Tennyson, and I slowly just worked my way up and tried contributing whatever way possible. And then I got connected to the Sisters Committee, and I became a more like official volunteer. You can get involved. You just have to find a volunteer that you know, or just anyone on the board, and ask them for more information. I'm the Sisters Youth Committee is also working on a way to help Sisters Youth find more easy and accessible ways to volunteer at the masjid. The emails in the banner are right there.
MashaAllah. Youth Sisters at masjidalwali.org. So, Sister Yasin, tell us, tell our viewers, how were you able to get involved in the community?
So I remember when I was little, it would be just MCMC, Hall at that time actually also, and like Fords. And then we saw that Masjid Al-Wali was being built. But we started off in Nine Olson, I think it was around 2011. And so we would pray in Nine Olson, and then eventually 10 Olson started getting built. And we saw like the beautiful tiles with Allah's name and everything. And like we really felt connected that something was just like 5 minutes away from our house. That was a masjid. And I think that was really big deal, especially because the other masjid were sort of a little bit far away. And then I didn't do that much volunteering in the beginning because I was like only like 7 years old. But I did see a lot of people like give like dates out during iftar before like the main iftar that would happen in Nine Olson. And then my mom got involved, and slowly that sort of built a bridge for me to volunteer. And like Rizwana had said, I also became like an official volunteer. We would give iftar in Ramadan, and we would help with the kids, and then we would have like baking classes and things like that. And slowly we just developed this relationship with the people at the masjid and the masjid itself. And I think it's a wonderful experience, and everyone deserves this experience, and everyone should like just go to the masjid, and you'll see how much fun it can actually be.
MashaAllah. So the question I want to ask both of you, and you guys can decide who going first. Being a volunteer, being at school, I'm a big fan of you can do both at the same time, and that's the reason why I want to really have this program. I don't like the idea of people giving up one for the other. Like, okay, I finish school and then I will come to the masjid and then I will volunteer. Look, by the time you finish school, and it's time to move on, you find different things, right? And I am a big believer in the sense that you can come to the masjid, you could volunteer, you could seek knowledge, you can seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and at the same time work for the cause of Allah and earn some reward. And you have no idea the barakah of Allah, how Allah could put barakah in your studies and gives you more. Allah can give you more what you call intelligence and open your minds that you can able to see things in a greater perspective. I'm a big fan about that. I would like to hear you guys' comments about that.
You can go first, Yasin.
Okay, so I think that's a wonderful point that you bring up, because I think we often get stuck in one thing and we just think that one thing is good, but we forget that to achieve that one goal, we sort of need other things to build upon it, because only it's not one journey to one destination, it's multiple pathways in that journey to that destination. And I think that's really important to remember. That I definitely think that coming to the masjid and volunteering at the masjid sort of helped me be successful, continue to be successful in my high school journey or in my school journey. It gives me that confidence that I need a lot of times. Even this is teaching me public speaking, sort of being confident in front of people, and that's a key that's very important in high school, in any actually setting where you have to talk. It's very important. So, and I learned basic skills too from the masjid and volunteering and responsibilities and trustworthy and teamwork, and there's just countless things.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Rizwana?
I definitely agree. I think that you don't have to choose one and give up the other. I think it's possible to do both, and you don't have to dedicate all your time to the masjid, and you don't have to dedicate all your time to school and academics. You can always find a balance between the two, and I think that's really important, because I know for sure that a lot of the work we do at the masjid, like Yasin said, gives you the confidence to apply to your just ordinary day-to-day life. For example, cooperation with other people, teamwork, communication skills, public speaking, responsibility. Those are all nurtured through the masjid environment, and you can apply it to every part of your life.
Absolutely. I have been involved for a very, very long time with many young people, and I have seen that development, that when they are exposed to the masjid, they become so confident. When even when they go to school, they can make a point in a very confident manner, and they can be very outspoken to their teacher on issues that are relevant to their knowledge and stuff like that. How do you guys think about that?
Um, I think I love it. I think that fact that like working at the masjid can help you be more assertive in other aspects of your life is an extremely important skill that you'll have and you'll need for the rest of your life. And I really enjoy the opportunities it provides you.
And look, I mean, the thing is that what can be better than to volunteer and to work in the house of Allah, right? Which is the masjid is the house of Allah. And I would like to take this opportunity to make special dua for both of you and your parents, who has given you guys this opportunity, because sometimes, it's very difficult for kids to do it all by themselves. So we need the parents really to support their children in these ventures, and in these way of coming to the masjid and encouraging them to be part of what is happening, so that they can able to build a sense of affinity and a sense of identity with the masjid. You identify with the masjid, right, Yasin?
100%. I think I would say 100% that I've done the things I've done at the masjid and gained this confidence only because my mom decided to take that step into volunteering, to take that initiative. And I think I owe it all to her. All those good deeds, definitely a large portion are going to her, because she introduced that this is possible, right? We don't know that these things are possible till we've given that experience or seen that experience. And I was definitely presented that by my parents, even aunties and uncles that volunteer at the masjid. It's really inspiring. And I definitely know I'm not the only one.
Alhamdulillah. And there is a rippling effect of when you volunteer, especially if you have other siblings, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
other siblings look at you and they want to follow your example. And
Yep.
so all it takes is one person to start that kind of that attitude and that connection to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and volunteer. And then you will find that all your little siblings, I'm not sure how many siblings you guys have, but you would see positive outcome even from your siblings want to go to the masjid and try to copy what you guys are doing, right?
Um,
Rizwana?
yeah,
Right.
I come from a household with a lot of little kids, and I think that I saw my dad volunteering at the masjid first, and I just followed suit as well. And I think that's definitely impacted my younger cousins and my younger siblings because they're much more eager to go to the mosque, and they do help out during Ramadan's, preparing for the iftars that we host for the community. So I would definitely agree.
Alhamdulillah. And in our discussion, as I was discussing with you, both of you, a couple of days ago, and we were talking about, look, you volunteer and you are at the masjid, you're seeking knowledge for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a blessing in itself. And then there are also some worldly reward for that. And Yasin, we were talking about the presidential award stuff. Where when a person volunteer, your volunteer hours can be counted, and you can be awarded. Can you just want to touch quickly on that?
Yes, of course. So, we all know that everybody who's going through high school right now knows that volunteer hours are a crucial part of graduating college. In fact, there's a certain requirement, and it always looks good on the resume. I mean, college application and resume, of course. So, I was recently told about this Presidential Service Award, and basically, it's almost like an incentive, and it's just an extra thing that if you volunteer and dedicate yourself to volunteering, and you and the masjid or any institution or person nominates you, then you have this chance at getting this award. And of course, it's just an extra benefit on top of all of those rewards you're already getting from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. So, yeah, it's basically if you do a certain amount of volunteering, someone nominates you, and then you have a chance of getting a certificate with the president's signature on it. So it's a big deal.
Mashallah, mashallah. That's an amazing aspect that you can add to your resume, as you said, because especially when you are seeking college, they look for all your hours of volunteerism, and of course, we will issue also a certificate of your contribution towards the community and stuff like that. Let's touch a little on. I want you guys to talk directly to the kids who are in high school or who are planning to go to high school. What is it that they should expect? Because a lot of time, I know you guys move from a Noor to a public school. What is there to be to expect, and how they should be able to prepare with this? Because a lot of times, high school is like a surprise to many kids when they get into high school, especially in public school. How to cope with that, and things that can really help them. What they should expect.
I definitely think that something you're gonna have to expect is a lot of competition between your peers, but it's a very healthy competition that encourages you to do better. And I also think you should expect a lot of work. So you need to learn how to manage your time properly, especially if you want to do other things along with academic work. I think those are two really important parts of high school life.
Is there anything you want to chime in, Yasin?
Yeah, definitely. So I couldn't have said it better myself. So thank you so much for that, Rizwana. I just want to say that you're gonna be told many times that how much work it is, how much competition there is, how many things you have to do, and how big of a jump it is. But I want to tell you that whatever advice anybody gives you, everybody's high school experience is unique. And I was told when I was coming from Manur that the culture is going to be so different, the people are so different. But alhamdulillah, I was perfectly fine. I could cope with it very well. So I think it's just about building that mental strength and finding a goal that you want to reach and just saying, like, being completely dedicated to that. Of course, it could change midway, but when you have that dedication, then inshallah, Allah will help you reach that goal, no matter which obstacles that come in the way, there will be obstacles, but our job is to thank Allah for what we have and challenge those obstacles, face on, and at the end of the day, inshallah, all of us will be successful in whatever ways we want to.
Thank you very much for that. I know you guys touched on some obstacles. I mean, I would really like for us to get into some specificity here as to some of the obstacles. What are some of the obstacles expected, and what is it that you guys are seeing there that parents don't see? Because an American experience it's a very different experience. A lot of our parents are immigrants coming from different parts of the world, and they raise their kids to here. The kids are born here who are they are American kids, and they are growing up in an American experience. And we would like, and this is the reason why I really want to have this kind of discussion with you guys, that you can able to prepare those who are coming with this, with how would they be able to learn this, identifying themselves with Islam, and also to share this American experience. Because last week, as we have spoken, is that you don't have to give up one for the other. You can be a Muslim and at the same time you can be an American. There is no dichotomy. There is no dividing wall between these two. And so you guys, being American kids growing and experiencing this here, what would you say to your peers who are going through this kind of experience?
I think that you can maintain your own cultural identity as well as an American identity, as well as your identity as a Muslim, at the same time. It's what makes each and every person unique, and you're supposed to embrace it, rather than ignore one part or the other. I also think that it is difficult for parents to adjust to an American culture, but American culture isn't haram. A lot of aspects of it are frowned upon, but at the end of the day, especially in a society, in a community that you're growing up in that revolves around American culture, I think it's important to learn how to assimilate both of those into your life while maintaining a halal
identity and understanding. The thing is that there are so many things that here that an American experience that is halal. It's just how we respond to it and how we take it and make it. Because look, for example, we when now people were getting crazy over internet and getting over crazy over media stuff like social media. And so you can use social media in a very beautiful way, or you can use it in a haram way. It depends on the individual. So, and this is what makes the American experience a great experience. This is what makes it a melting pot of people from all over the world applying your culture, and you have the opportunity. This is the beauty of living in an environment like this, that you can take out of it and apply your Islamic principle, right, Yasin?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So, like, just the way you said it, the melting pot, right? If we get really technical, the true essence of America or an American is that diversity. So when we say that to be American, we need to forget Islam or whatever culture we have at home, we're actually taking the essence of America and we're messing it up, because that's not what it is. That's our version of it, but that's not the truth. And so I think it's really important to understand that there's no one identity, that these small things make up who we are. And if we leave one behind, then we're not actually being whole. We can deny it all we want. It doesn't change the fact. So I think it's very important that we sort of keep both. We understand both, and we live by Islam, but we also appreciate the things that we're allowed to do what is right to do. And that's the way we can live life and be happy at the most and live it the right way under the guidelines. So nothing's holding us back.
MashaAllah. So telling me that you have a free way of applying yourself by applying Islam. And so the point is that a lot of kids sometimes they feel, and this is where a lot of time bullying comes into school, right? A lot of bullying, a lot of situation where kids are afraid sometimes, and they become so introverted and they want to hide behind someone. You can able to apply your Islam and in a very public way, in whatever way you can. You don't have to hide. You don't have to hide your name. You don't have to hide your culture. You don't have to hide your food. This is the beauty of being in an American experience, sharing your culture, and any culture that is within the parameters of the Islamic culture embraces it, right? Because Islamic culture is anything that is halal, of course, right? So someone may like biryani, another person may like butter chicken. That's a culture cuisine, and the cuisine, I mean, of choices that people use. A person who grew up here probably although you may come from an experience of your family as migrants, but you may have a closer affinity to American cuisine rather than cultural cuisine. So this is something that is so important for us to understand, and how we can able to apply ourselves in this process, so we would not feel a sense of lesser of a person, or because I like this type of food, or I speak in a particular way. This is something that I really want our young kids to really understand and be proud of who they are and where they came from, and don't allow others to bully you. And I would like you guys to comment on this for me.
I think that bullying is definitely an issue within a lot of schools. But I don't think it should force someone to give up their cultural identity or their religious identity as well. And I think it also begs the question of how do you cope with issues like that Islamically, and just in a productive and like growth mindset type of way. And so it really affects your mental health. And I believe that is something we should focus on especially for youth. And so I think that it is important, and it's not talked about enough.
Mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm very glad that you raised this. Yes, Yasin.
I think the way you said it was beautiful, that like how mental health and bullying is often like really put under the shades because we don't want to talk about it because it's too hard. But I think what we need to start off by understanding is that culture and religion have two different spots in our life, right? Culture changes. Religion doesn't change. So when someone bullies us about what we are, what we stand for, our religion or our culture, our religion is one thing that stays consistent. That should be that grounds us down, because that's something that's unwavering, that doesn't change. that's one thing that's consistent throughout. And by holding on to something that's consistent gives you that bravery to sort of stick through that bullying. And I know it's a lot easier said than done, but of course that we should always take steps so that we have sort of a protective layer. And Islam is that shield that deflects this bullying. And mental health, definitely, with the question was want to ask, serious question and very important for us to. Yeah, of course, it's nothing to be ashamed of. And in fact, if we do not protect our soul, our mental health, then our physically will be incapable of doing the things we want to. So it's important. And Islam tells us it's both, to do both is very important. To maintain both, to keep both healthy is very important.
Thank you very much. I really, really, I'm very proud of both of you guys, coming on to this program, joining me and giving some pointers really to our viewers, our young kids, that can be very, very beneficial for all of them. And I'm glad that you guys raised this issue of mental health, because mental health is like a taboo topic that a lot of us, we don't want to talk about it. But this is the reality that our kids face. And parents should not really deny this fact of mental health. So inshallah, since you guys have raised this point, I will try to engage a mental health expert who can probably tell us something, and we will be discussing this maybe before this season is finished at the end of March, so we can bring in that person with mental health that can talk to us and give parents some pointers of how you able to recognize when your kids are suffering with mental health issues. And there is nothing bad about it, and it is not something that you should really brush under the carpet, because if you do, then your kids would really suffer the long term on it. And so inshallah, next week we'll be having a further discussion, inshallah. Next week I will having Dr. Hatem with me, and we will be talking about some of the common things we overlook as parents, right? Common things that we overlook as parents, raising our kids as Muslims, and in an American experience. So I want you guys to stay tuned for that. Inshallah, we'll be discussing that in very great detail with Sheikh Hatem. He's no stranger, a great scholar and a great academia also, and in his field, inshallah. So just before we go, we just have 3 minutes more. I just want to very quickly go on a rapid round of questions with you guys. I just want to for us to able to hear some of your scoop. I don't have to go in any particular order. I will just ask a question. What is you guys' favorite food? Rizwana.
French fries.
Oh, breadsticks.
Oh, okay.
What's that?
Breadsticks.
MashaAllah. Yasin?
Oh, French fries.
MashaAllah. You see the cultural difference here already, right? What is your favorite summer activity?
I could go first. Swimming.
Being able to stay at home and read.
If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
I would want to go to Iceland to see the Aurora Borealis.
Nice.
So I would want to go to South America to see the rainforest and the different animals.
MashaAllah. You see the difference here? What's your favorite hobby, Rizwana?
I love reading, like books.
I don't like reading. I like sleeping. That's my hobby.
Rizwana, are you a morning or night person?
Definitely a night person.
100% night person.
MashaAllah. What is your favorite thing about someone in your family?
I love the way my parents dedicate themselves to their family.
MashaAllah. May Allah bless them. Yasin?
I really like persistence and bravery in all my family members. They don't give up very easily.
Final question. What is your dream job?
My dream job is being a psychiatrist.
Mashallah. So we would need you at the masjid.
Of
Yeah,
course,
see,
anytime.
I want to become a lawyer.
mashallah. We had a person who was aspiring to be a lawyer last week also, seeking law school. So I guess you benefit from that session too, right?
Yes.
Mashallah. So I would like to say thank you so much for both of you guys. I'm so proud of you guys being youngsters in our community and being to be example of the youngsters and volunteering and coming out. And I hope that this program is beneficial for all the youngsters. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you, your parents. And again, thank you so much for coming on. For those brothers and sisters, tomorrow is Jumu'ah. We will be having Jumu'ah tomorrow at the Masjid. And of course, we will be, the first Jama'ah is at 12:45 and the second one is at 1:30. So please, inshallah, those of you who can make it, see you then. And hopefully we see all of you next week. So once again, Yasin and Rizwana, thank you so much for coming on. Assalamu alaikum to you and all our viewers. Until next week, inshallah, I see you.
Alaikum.
Jazakallah khairan.